All right, welcome back, everyone. Quick question just to get us started. What do this and this and this, it's a MacBook, what do they all have in common? Do you know? What am I talking about? They actually all have cameras. Okay. And today I want to share with you and talk with you and share some stories with you about how a camera has completely changed my small business. Now, for those of you who have not been here, my name is Matt. I'm a therapist in private practice. I also own a group practice, but this video is not specific for therapists in private practice. I think you'll find value here if you are a small business owner of any sort. All right. And also, if you've not been here, I've been trying out a whole new method of recording videos. So I have this microphone in front of me, and I'm actually using a program on my computer. So there's a bit of lag, and I'm trying to fix it between my audio and my video. It's like not perfectly synced up. So if that's bothering you, I'm really sorry. It's bothering me too. I'm going to try to address it. But yeah, let's just dive right in. So how does a camera change, and not just change, but how does it help my business to grow? How has it been such a monumental aspect of my business? And I think as I share my story, I think you'll find that you can change things with a camera as well, help your business grow, do things you never thought were possible. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How can having access to a camera, which most of us do, and I'm not talking about, it doesn't matter which kind, it doesn't matter whether it's something like this, like a dedicated camera or a webcam. That's not important. But what is important is what the camera can do for you as part of your business. And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, just to give you a bit of my backstory, when I initially started my private practice, my intention was to have an all virtual practice. There are some benefits to that are really helpful, and then they're obvious, right? So no commute time, all that kind of stuff. But there were a couple things that were shortcomings of being an all virtual practice, and in particular, being all virtual in private practice. So there were two issues that came with that. One is, as an all virtual person who's not in an office, you're not networking with colleagues, you're not interacting with many other people in person, right? And there's a big social element to being in the office, going in person. And then number two, and this kind of relates to private practice, it's just you, right? You're not working with a massive team. I have a group practice now, so there's more of a team element, but for a lot of people in this field, they're kind of working on their own, right? So this poses an issue with kind of like networking and getting your name out there and growing a business, right? So in private practice, we, just like any other business, and if you're a small business owner of any kind, you've got to get the word out there about your business, right? And this usually happens with networking and marketing and meeting people. Now, of course, it happens in other ways as well, right? Like advertisements and all that stuff. But networking is invaluable, right? Getting to know people, talking to people, this is invaluable. And so this is where the camera came in. So one thing I was thinking about, and this is like a twofold thing. The first thing I was thinking about was, well, my business is therapy practice, right? So I do therapy with people, and if I'm going to be all virtual, I want to present my business I want the service to be as professional and as good as possible. So my first thought was, well, I want to make my sessions look better than just a standard Zoom session, right? So I started to actually use a camera like this as my webcam, so that when people logged into my sessions and into the practice to see me, it would have a much more professional feel. People would often log in and say, whoa, like what kind of camera are you using? Or I feel like I'm watching a YouTube video. And what I really wanted to have happen was make that virtual experience really, really good. And so having a camera helped me to do that, right? And that was kind of the whole start, was like, oh, having a camera can help me provide a great experience for the client, right? At least partially. And then I started to think, wow, I'm not only providing kind of like this professional looking experience with this camera, but the other thing I'm also doing, and this is more kind of meta, right? I'm like, oh, I'm actually communicating via the camera, right? So of course, people, when you see a person in for a therapy session, you log in, and so you're talking to each other live. You're not like nothing pre-recorded or anything like that. But it had me thinking, oh, I could maybe communicate about my business through videos, right? And so this was kind of a different thought, but I was like, oh, I can use the camera to record videos about private practice, right? And I didn't want to necessarily make videos about mental health. I just, not something I wanted to do, but I was learning a lot about private practice and how to start and grow. So then what I started to do was make videos about private practice, right? And I started to record myself talking about the things I was learning, whether it be how to start one, the business aspect, all that kind of stuff. And I would start to post those videos on YouTube. And for me, I thought about this as essentially like a replacement for networking because I wasn't able to do it. Not to mention we got hit with a pandemic and, many people, you're not networking at all at that point. And so I figured like making videos would be a great way to be able to get my name out there and for people to, primarily to teach people about private practice. Right. So then I started to do that. And that is where having a camera and making videos started to really change the trajectory of my business. And I guess it actually became two businesses, right? So one's the private practice, and we're providing that professional experience using the camera, making it look really nice. And then number two, though, was starting kind of this consultation business where I teach people about private practice and all that. And I was using video for that. Okay. Now, a couple of things I've learned from there, right? In terms of like, what does making videos do? Like, why is it helpful? Why am I such a proponent? And there are a couple of things I wanted to share, and I was just taking some notes about this. And let me actually just pull it up here. I'll invite you into my notes. They're not too detailed. There's just 3 things here. And the first thing was I was learning that making videos was actually a really effective way of communication. All right. So for example, if I wanted to teach someone how to start a private practice, I can record that video, and within that video, I could be talking, right? So it could be just like this. I'm kind of making teaching points. I could put text on the screen. So it could be words and things like that. And it was also visual, right? So I could show things, I could give examples, I could do a screen recording. So it became a really effective way for teaching and transmitting information. Now you might be saying, yeah, that's obvious, but it really was something that was revolutionary to me was, I could actually make videos about the business and then put them out there. And it's not just making a piece of content, but I'm actually communicating something about the business, right? So that was really, really cool. So then I started to realize like a video is actually an effective way of communicating. Sometimes we write it off and we think, oh, I need to be on the phone or do a live Zoom call. Now there's pros and cons to everything, but you can make a pre-recorded video and communicate really well through that. All right. So I learned that I can communicate through video. So this is what I was starting to pick up on when I started to use the camera a lot, right, and start filming videos. The second thing I started to learn was that through video, you can actually build a lot of credibility. And this depends on how, you make the video and what the content's all about. So I realized that as I was learning, I wanted to learn the information really well. So I wanted to be able to teach other people. And so I would do a lot of research. I would write out a script. I would write out, basically like manuals or whatever about the actual issue, right? So for example, how to start a private practice. I wrote out an entire manual, and then I eventually turned that manual into a video. Right. And so that wasn't just something I pushed record on the camera and start talking and blabbing away about things I didn't know about. But I started to really put a lot of time into teaching people the things I was learning. Right. And what happened was because people found it to be helpful, I started to build credibility. Right. So now through video, I'm not only communicating, but what I'm communicating is landing with people. I'm not just kind of talking about anything, but I'm talking about things that I hopefully know about. And I start to build credibility, right? So now I'm realizing, wow, videos can help with that as well. And then the other thing you can do with a video, which I find really, really cool, is that you can actually be relatable as well, right? So rather than just audio only or writing a blog or something like that, people now get to see you, right? They get to see you, your mannerisms, how you talk. Now, of course, that can be curated for a video. But in many ways, when I'm making videos like this, I'm trying to be as natural as possible, which is recently why I switched from having videos that look kind of like this to more videos that kind of look like this. It's a little bit more relatable. And so those were 3 things I started to learn that I could do with a camera for my business. Communicate, where is it? Communicate, build credibility, and be relatable. And those things have helped my consultation business to really grow and to actually be a business as opposed to just something I'm trying to do or hoping to do. But that business is working, right? And I largely attribute that almost entirely to making videos, because videos have really helped with that. So that is kind of something I was going for a run this morning and I was thinking about that. I wanted to talk about that because I find, like, I was thinking about tools for private practice or small business. And, in our field, we have a different bunch of tools that we have to use, whether it be, progress notes or something like that. But one of the main tools is my camera. And I wanted to at least talk a little bit about why. But I think, I don't know, maybe you're someone who's never really thought much about making a video or how it could potentially be helpful. I want to encourage you to consider it. It's not the only way to communicate, but it's certainly a really good one. And I think it can help businesses grow, not often talked about. And yeah, that's my experience. I'm going to continue to use video just like this, hopefully to be relatable, build upon my communication, as well as build credibility. Yeah, just a couple thoughts about that. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it wasn't too rambly, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.